Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we will talk about what is data mesh and we'll try to understand why data mesh architecture is used, okay, or when it should be used. So let's start with the definition, okay. So when I say what is data mesh is a decentralized data architecture where data is treated as a product and managed by dedicated data product owners. So if you see here, there are few terminologies used like data product owners, managed by dedicated data product owners. Okay. It means there will be multiple product owners. Okay. Obviously, in the sales department, there will be different product owner. In purchase, there will be different. In finance, there will be different, right? So this will be owned by different product owners. And why it is decentralized? Again, since it is owned by different, they have a different architecture altogether. Or not, I shouldn't say architecture, but they should have different storage spaces, right? Okay, altogether. So let's take a deeper dive out of it, okay, and try to understand what it is. I will take an example of a retail company, okay, that has multiple business units, okay, like you can say online sales, right, or in-store sales, or marketing, or logistic, okay. So what traditionally happens, okay, generally in traditional data warehouse systems, there will be a central data team, okay, that collects the data, manages this data, and analyze this data, okay. But now what data mesh is saying here is, with the data mesh approach, each business unit would be responsible for creating and managing their own data. So now you see there are different databases, right? And each of these units are storing their data differently. And they will be actually managing this data. Okay, so when I say they will be managing the data, it doesn't mean that the central data team will not be there. It will be there because they will help them providing the tools or support for business units. Okay, so that they can manage their data themselves, right? Because there are chances that they are not trained as data team, right? So data team will help them, right? They will tell them what kind of tools they can use. They will support them, okay, and that's how they can utilize these things. But what does this data mesh mean then? So data mesh means like data ownership and responsibility is decentralized now. Now it is not centralized. Okay. So let's move to the next slide and try to understand what this data mesh approach says. So the approach is guided by certain core principles, such as focusing on specific business domain, right? As I said, maybe sales team is holding the data differently, purchase team is holding the data differently, right? And even they are managing. They are not just keep taking the data, even they are managing the data. So the governance is also being distributed now because they are only governing their data. Okay. So the data mesh decentralize the data ownership by transferring the responsibility from a central data team to the business unit teams. I hope it is clear now, right? Now, the question arises, why we need data mesh? Okay, so the problem was earlier unclear ownership. See, if you give this data to the data team, maybe they are not clear, right? Maybe they are not aware what kind of data it is, right? So they are not feeling that kind of responsibility, right? But if you know that this is your data and you are responsible for it, you will get some benefits out of it. Might be you are more interested in cleansing your data or creating out information out of it, right? So you will do uh, basically more responsible, you will be more responsible out of it, right? So it is not always clear who is responsible for managing the data, right? The team that creates the data or the team that manages the data, right? So there was some problem earlier, right? The ownership problem. Now that ownership problem get resolved because you will be creating your data sets, you will be doing all those activities, so you will be more focused. Quality issues. Again, there are few terminologies which are not being and basically the data team is not aware of, right? They don't know, right, what is PID, what is CID, what is other IDs, right? but the actual business unit team knows what this stands for, what kind of data it should contain, what type of data it should contain, how much data it should contain, right? They are well aware of it. So they can find that issues very quickly, okay? And which helps to ensure the quality of data. So this kind of problem was also resolved with data mesh, right? Problem with the growth. If a central team is responsible for managing all the data in a large organization, they can become overwhelmed and slow down. Obviously, they have to take care of everything. But here, now you are focusing on your data. So this problem will also get resolved. So these were the problems earlier which get resolved by using data mesh. Nowadays, there is one more term coming into the picture known as data fabric, right? And people generally get basically confused between these two terms, right? What is data mesh and what is data fabric? So when I say data fabric, it is not a distributed approach, to be very frank. Okay, it is like just like the normal data warehouse systems. But what it will give you, it will give you one more layer, data fabric. So let's try to understand. Let's see the definition first. What data fabric is. So the data fabric is a type of data architecture that connects different processes by creating a central layer of integrated data. Okay, so let's say your data is in GCP, Google Cloud. Your data is in Microsoft Azure. Your data in Amazon, AWS, right? There will be APIs, right? You can expose this data or you can use these APIs to get the data out of it. And then you can create one central layer. Now, you are creating the central layer. What data fabric will do, it will create one more layer out of it, let's say. Because this will contain the physical data, let's say, okay. But data fabric will not contain physical data. It is just like a, you can say, the data is actually not here. It's just like a API, right, by which you can accessing the data, but it doesn't hold the data here, right? So the storage problem gets resolved here, right? So if you see the definition, the data fabric is a type of data architecture that connects different processes by creating a central layer, right? As I said, of integrated data, because it is integrated data. Now it's creating a central layer out of it. A team of experts is responsible for managing and coordinating the data fabric. Here, obviously, there will be a data team which will be helping all this, right? Now let's take a look to the next slide and try to make it more clear. Okay. So as I said, right, these are your basically the domains, right, or departments. Now these departments, few of the data is stored in AWS, few of them are stored in the Azure. But now a virtual layer is created on top of it, which is taking the data, okay, using an API from AWS as well as from Azure and storing a virtual layer. So the data is not actually stored here. It's like a virtual layer only, right? They are using an API to get the data out of it in a centralized location. Okay, so I hope it is clear now. So in the conclusion, if I say, so data fabric is like a virtual layer because it doesn't contain the actual data, as I keep on saying, right? That sits on the top of different data sources in an organization, making it easier to manage and use the data. So basically, they will just help the other teams to use and to manage these data sets. So I hope now it is clear to you guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.